The New England Patriots have signed Stefon Diggs to a 3-year, $69 million deal with $26 million fully guaranteed per Adam Schefter. The deal averages out to $23 million per year. Now for this one, I like this move. It is, I will say as well, it is a overpay at this point with the age and now coming off of a severe injury with the torn ACL. You just don't know how he's going to be at this point. But with that being said, I like the move here because this is something that breaks what the Patriots have been known for, or lacking of, with going out there and just going all in on a player, or spend the money and getting a player. And I understand they haven't always been at the top of the list for salary cap and having all this money to spend, but let's be honest here. If Bill Belichick, or you could throw maybe Jerome Mayo coming from that tree as well, was here, they're not making the signing. They're not making this move. They're being conservative. They're trying to do the cheapest way possible. They're going to the draft, overdrafting someone, missing on a guy. They're not making this type of move. And I like this not because of just Stefon Diggs, but it's now opening a new door of, this is a new era for New England now. We're not going to mess up with Drake May like we did with Mac Jones and not surround him with talent, not go all in on the guy and put as much people around him to succeed. We're doing this differently. To me, Drake May is their franchise guy. They hit on him. He's a good quarterback. He showed flashes this year. He's definitely your prototypical quarterback of what people are looking for. He has the size, the mobility, the arm strength. He's going to be a tough quarterback to go against in this division, especially along with Josh Allen. We don't know the future of Tua because of his injury history, but right now Tua is a good quarterback as well, and we'll see what happens with the Jets this year with Justin Fields and years to come. We don't know what's going to happen, but at least we know if at least the cornerstones, in my opinion, right now is Josh Allen, Drake May, and I'll throw in there Tua. So that is a tough division, no doubt about that, of what Drake May could potentially be, and adding a receiver like this to help his growth, help his development, get him a true number one wide receiver in this room right now is immense. I know there are maybe the character issues, the antics on the sidelines, but surely for Mike Vrabel, no, they will fix that. They understand what Stefon Diggs brings to the table, that aspect of it, and they'll fix it. They'll temper it down, in my opinion. But just looking at solely as on the field, what he offers, he is a route technician. He's a great route runner, great release. At this point, again with the injury, or coming off of that, does that take away from it? Does it slow it down a little bit? Yes, along with just aging in general, but he's still a productive wide receiver in 8 weeks or 8 games with Houston Texans. Now, take it for how you will for the Pro Football Focus gradings, because obviously it's subjective, but overall grade, he was a fringe top 20 wide receiver, 79 overall grade, and 22nd in the NFL for receiving grade, 79.7. In 8 games, he had 47 receptions, 496 yards, 3 touchdowns. And we look at the advanced stats going all the way down. 288 for the pass snaps, 62 targets, 270 yards, or 270 routes ran. Only 2 drops this year. Yards per reception was 10.6. Yards after catch per reception was 4, which he's not a yak receiver. He's more of a possession receiver. That's a great route runner. So you have that. And going down the rest, passer rating when targeted, 108, and average depth of target, 8.3. So for me, in those 8 games, even though it was short-lived for the Texans, he was still productive. He was still well. If you basically double that for the whole entire season, he is a fringe 1,000-yard receiver, if I have the numbers right, and 6 touchdowns, which is still productive. I mean, it's a regression of what he did in Buffalo, no doubt about that, with, again, the age being at 31 years old. But it's still highly productive in a crowded wide receiver room at that point with Tank Dell, with Nico Collins. Of course, towards the end, they were all just banged up at one point. Nico Collins was out was put on IR because of injury. Tank Dell, fortunately, late in the season had a gruesome injury, which kept missed the rest of this past season and will likely miss the entire 2025 season. And Stefon Diggs, of course, was ACL injury. But again, when all 3 of those guys were on the field, he was more the second wide receiver because Tank Dell wasn't really thriving as much as people were hoping for coming off of his exciting rookie season. Again, short-lived because of the injury in his rookie year, but he was still producing in a crowded wide receiving room at that point. So you look at that, and it's a far less crowded one in New England. So no doubt he's going to have the numbers, and I still believe he is capable of giving you a 1,000-yard season. I do. But if you want to compare it to the stat line of DeAndre Hopkins when he was with Houston his first year, Will Levis's rookie season where he was I think just over a little bit over 1,000 yards receiving. I think he had maybe like 6-7 touchdowns at that point. So Stefon Diggs can't give you that stat line. He's still capable of doing that. He's not the Stefon Diggs of Buffalo or the last few seasons of Minnesota. He's not that, of course, but he's still a immense help for Drake May, and it's the type of wide receiver that they really need for him as of right this point, because they can be somewhat competitive this year. I mean, I don't know how far they can go. I mean, you could probably label them as maybe a dark horse to make the playoffs in the wild card, but this is the type of player that you need. And again, I like this not because it's just signing Stefon Diggs, but it's open the door saying we're gonna spend the money. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna make the moves necessary to build this team up. And Mike Vrabel as well. He's coming in a situation where he finally has a franchise quarterback. I mean, for the most part, he had what was it? Marcus Mariota and then Brian Tannehill essentially for his whole tenure there, which was okay. They had that great run in 2019 where they made it to the AFC Championship game, lost to Kansas City, had the number 1 seed in 2021, almost made it to the AFC Championship game once again, with losing to Cincinnati in the divisional rounds. So you look at that and go like, wow, he had some decent success there with the lack of quarterbacks. And you look at Drake May, he has far more potential than those two guys, and especially what he's building there. Now again, he's going to a tougher division as opposed to that one, the AFC South, but he still has a team that he's building that is going to be competitive, no doubt about that. Again, even if they don't make the playoffs, they will be very competitive this year. Again, I like this move. It is an overpay in my opinion, with $23 million per year. If we look into kind of averaging out to what the market is, again, SpotTrick has it weird. They have one extra year on here, which I don't know why, because everyone has reported 3 years, and they have 4 years, which drops it down to 17.25. If you make it 3 years, it's $23 million per year, which will put him in the fridge top 15 for wide receivers. He's tied with Calvin Ridley at 16. Just a little bit more paid than Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, and Devontae Adams, and Michael Pittman and Deebo Samuel are just a little bit higher than him at 14 and 15, which is decent. I mean, certainly I would take Stefon Diggs over Calvin Ridley and the rest, the players below him from 17 to 20. You can argue are better at this point than Stefon Diggs. I mean, for Chris Godwin, it's just the injury issues for that one, but in terms of just talent at this point, you might give a slight edge to Stefon Diggs. And even with Devontae Adams, too, being the similar age, I mean, I would lean towards Devontae Adams, and you can so on and so forth. But overall, you look at what the type of receivers are getting paid for this money for, it's not horrible. It's not bad. Again, at this age, maybe it is a slight overpay, but it just shows you the market of what it is. Again, in my opinion, it's the going market. It's the going rate for it. So he's on par with everyone else. I think he matches up pretty well with all those guys on that list. So you could probably say, well, it's not a horrible signing per year. But again, I think it just factoring in that ACL injury, we just don't know what he's going to be. I think he'll be good. Maybe he slows down, like I said, because of the injury and the age, but he'll still be productive. I still view Diggs, like I said, as a 1,000-yard receiver and something that they really need. And he's very familiar with the division, of course, with all those teams and his former teammates from Buffalo. So that does give him, I think, a little bit of edge going to New England with that one. But for me, again, I like the move. It's bold, no doubt about that. And Stefon Diggs really didn't visit anywhere else. It was just New England. He went there a few days ago, left without a contract, and then a few days later, last night, he signs a contract. So again, it didn't seem like he had that many options, though there was speculation. Maybe there was a reunion for Buffalo. I think some people were throwing the Giants out there at that point. But again, the only team he actually visited was the Patriots, and it just seemed like kind of a done deal because it didn't seem like there was anywhere else at that point that were really interested in Stefon Diggs. Maybe there were teams coming up, but New England had the money. They threw the money out at him and secured him for 3 years. I don't know if he's going to see the full 3 years. At the very least, it'll be 2 years, and then probably get rid of him after that. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the full details yet of the Stefon Diggs contract in terms of the breakdown for the dead caps and the salary cap per year. So we'll see when that comes out, how it averages out and what they can do with that. But just initially is gassing offhand. I think it'll be at least 2 years he'll be there, and then try and move off of him in right before his third season. Because at that point, you would hope that they have better receivers in place that they can move off of Stefon Diggs and be in a better spot where they can, of course, use that money elsewhere. But again, like the move, like the idea of just going out there and just spend the money, non-Bill Belichick type of move. But it's a new era in New England. Love it. We'll see what Stefon Diggs and Drake May can do in 2025.